Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Articles of Vaishnava Acharyas. This has been a long standing, for 2 years we did not have an episode in this series. We're reviving this again, episode 9 today. And today we will do a read along lecture. That means we will read the transcript of the lecture of Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura on Śrī Rādhāṣṭamī in the year 1931. It's a very, very insightful lecture on Srimati Radharani, and we should all know this. This is a nectar, honestly. It's a treasure of nectar. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you very much for joining us in this special lecture on Śrī Rādhāṣṭamī. Of course, we had Radhāṣṭamī celebrations 2 days ago on the 31st of October 2025. Almost 94 years before this, in 1931, on September 19th, there was a very insightful lecture by Srila Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura on Radhāṣṭamī Day, and we're going to study that lecture. Fortunately, somebody, I don't know who, transcribed or took notes and then made it into a lecture, or maybe it was read out by Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. I don't know how it was recorded, but it's recorded, and we have this nectar, the treasure of nectar here, and we will try to study this lecture. And because today is a special day, Tuesday, I don't usually have a lecture on Tuesdays, so it would help if you could kindly share this with your friends, devotees in the groups, so that we invite more people to come and join live, and we will study this lecture together. All right, so jumping straight into it. So Śrī Rādhāṣṭamī by Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. The following discourse was spoken by Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada in the Saraswata Natya Mandir, Sri Gaudiya Math, at 6 p.m. in the evening of Śrī Rādhāṣṭamī, September 19th, 1931. Just give me a moment here. Oh, okay. Okay, so 1931. There is, so this is how it starts. There is one personality whose name is not referred to in the Srimad Bhagavatam, yet the readers of Srimad Bhagavatam nurture. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry about this. Just 1 second. There's okay. There is one personality whose name is not referred to in the Srimad Bhagavatam, yet the readers of Srimad Bhagavatam nurture the hope of becoming that person's devoted servant. So you see how he's starting his lecture. Just a moment. Okay. So who is that whose name is not given? Well, it is Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani's name is not directly mentioned. So 10:30:28. If we go, is the audio all right? Somebody's saying mic. There's a mic here. Is it not audible? I'm a little bit under the weather today. Okay. So there is one personality whose name is not referred to in the Srimad Bhagavatam, yet the readers of Srimad Bhagavatam nurture the hope of becoming that person's devoted servant. So Radharani, so all the Vaisnavas who read the Srimad Bhagavatam, they hope to become Srimati Radharani's servant, but her name is not directly mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So if we go and see, so I'm going to do a lot of this switching between the screens, so bear with me. So if you 10:30:28, this is the closest we get to the name of Radharani in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So 10:30:28 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Anayaradhito nunam bhagavan haririshwaraha yanno vihaya govindah pretoyam anayadraha. So this is during the Ras Leela. It is mentioned that certainly this particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of Godhead Govinda, since he was so pleased with her that he abandoned the rest of us and brought her to a secluded place. So this is during the Ras Leela, where Krishna left the Ras Leela arena. When he was dancing with all the gopis, he left that arena and went with one particular gopi. So her name is not, directly mentioned here, but you see purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains that the word Aradhitaha refers to Srimati Radharani. So in fact, the word Aradhana or worship comes from the word Radha. Radha is the personification of Aradhana. So she is the perfection of Krishna's worship. So she worships Krishna perfectly. And therefore, her name is Radharani. So if you see in this verse, Anaya Radhito Nunam, Anaya, by her, Aradhitaha, perfectly worshipped. So here is hidden the name of Radha in the Srimad Bhagavatam in this verse. He comments, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, the sage Shukadeva Goswami has tried with all endeavor to keep her name hidden, but now it automatically shines forth from the moon of his mouth. That he has spoken her name is indeed her mercy, and thus the word Aradhita is like the rumbling of a kettle drum, sounded to announce her great good fortune. See how nicely he is describing. Shukadeva Goswami did not want to mention her name because apparently, if he mentioned her name, he would lose himself in ecstasy and would not be able to continue the Srimad Bhagavatam recitation. And because he wanted to continue the seva that he was doing, and because Parishit Maharaj had very less time left, and in order to continue his seva, he checked his ecstasy and did not mention her name directly, because if he did, he would be stunned and he would not be able to continue. So that's another explanation. Although the gopis spoke as if jealous of Srimati Radharani, they were actually ecstatic to see that she had captured Sri Krishna. This is the beauty of the spiritual world, Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan. Nirmatsaranam satam. Devotees are nirmatsaranam. Matsarata. In fact, the word matsya, fish, comes from the word matsara. So, matsya, fish are actually very envious. They are always eating one another, always. And matsarata means envy. So, nirmatsaranam means the devotees of Krishna, they are non-envious. Everybody else in this world are envious. Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva-mohena bharata. It is said in the Bhagavad Gita, Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva-mohena bharata. What is this Ichha dvesha? Ichha means desire, dvesha means hate. So I desire my sense gratification and I hate anybody who interferes with my sense gratification. So this is going on everywhere in this material world. So Krishna is saying in the 7th chapter, 27th verse, O scion of Bharata, that means O descendant of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, conqueror of the enemy, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arising from desire and hate. So this is going on all over the world, all over the universe, all over the material world. But the Vaisnavas are nirmatsaranam satam. In order to do good to others, we have to be nirmatsara. If we have any envy towards anyone, we cannot do good to them. So in the spiritual world, the beauty is that even though the speech, the gopis were saying, oh, Krishna has left us and he has gone to her, it sounds like, jealousy, or they're jealous of her, that Krishna is only with her. But actually, they were ecstatic that Krishna and Radha are together now. That much Srimati Radharani is so perfect in her worship that Krishna wants to just be with her alone. So, like this is the Vaikuntha consciousness. There's no envy. So anyway, coming back, so that's the mention of Radharani. That's the closest you can get to the mention of Radharani in Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay? Now going back to that lecture again, let me switch back again. This is two different softwares, so I need to kind of okay, so coming back to this, yeah. So there's one personality whose name is not referred to in the Srimad Bhagavatam, yet the readers of Srimad Bhagavatam nurture the hope. They always hope of becoming that person's devoted servant. So everybody wants to become Radharani's servant. In Vrindavan, everybody says Radhe Radhe. In fact, even in Hare Krishna, Hare means actually Hladini Shakti, who is Radharani. We hope to become her servant. May that personality who is everything to Bhagavan completely destroy our false ego and grant us shelter at her feet. So, who is everything to Bhagavan? For Krishna, who is everything? Srimati Radharani. That's why she is called Madana-mohana-mohini. So there's a Krishna is called Madan-mohan. So Madan means Cupid. Everyone in this material world are attracted by sex desire. They're attracted to the opposite sex because of Cupid, Madana. And when one becomes attracted to Krishna, one conquers the attraction of sex impulse. And therefore, Krishna is called Madana-mohana, one who attracts even Cupid. That means sex attraction becomes pale in comparison to the attraction of Krishna. The personified deity of sex, Cupid, Madana, is attracted. Kandarpa koti kamaniya vishesha shobham. Brahma Samhita gives us information that millions and trillions of Cupids are attracted. Krishna's beauty is so enchanting that millions and billions of Cupids cannot match his beauty. So it's not just a slight improvement over Cupid's beauty. Millions and trillions. So when he's that attractive, that's why he's called Krishna, all attractive. So he's called Madan. In this material world, the sex desire this is the highest pleasure, Adi rasa. Adi rasa. That means the highest pleasure, taste in this material world is sex. But Yamunacharya very nicely said, Yadavadhimamacheta Krishna Padaravinde Nava Nava Rasadhamanyudyatam Rantumasit Tadavadhin Bhatanari Sangame Smaryamane Bhavati Mukha Vikara Sushtu Nishtevanam Cha. So he said, Yamunacharya was a great king before, and he had full access to women, wine, and everything, all kinds of sense gratification. So beautiful women, beautiful girls were no problem for him to have. So he enjoyed the company of such girls a lot. But then later on in his life, he became a great devotee, a great Vaishnava Acharya. In fact, he is the guru of Ramanujacharya of Śrī Sampradaya. Just imagine. So when he became a pure devotee later on in his life, then he said, I used to enjoy the company of young girls so much. But ever since I became interested in Krishna, ever since I became a devotee, I have been getting newer and newer tastes in Krishna, that whenever the thought of sex life with a woman comes to my mind, I spit at the very thought. My lips curl with distaste and I spit at the very thought. That is Madan Mohan. Krishna attracts even Madana. So in other words, there's another nice verse actually in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Vikriditam Vrajavadhu Viridam cha Vishno. I'll just take it out. So this switching is that's a lot of clicks to get to another screen. Okay. Vikriditam Vrajavadhubhiridam cha Vishnoh Shraddhanvitonushrunuyadatha varnayedya Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam hridrogamashvapahinotyachirena dhira. Kamam hridrogam, the disease of the heart. Lust is the disease of the heart. Ashu apahinoti achirena dhira. So what happens? Anyone who faithfully hears or describes the Lord's playful affairs with the young gopis of Vrindavan will attain the Lord's pure devotional service. Thus he will quickly become sober and conquer lust, the disease of the heart. So if we actually understand and enter into the real spirit of Ras Leela, we will completely forget lust. So actually Krishna consciousness, not only Ras Leela, if we become attracted to Krishna in any way, or any of his expansions, one will lose attraction for this so-called sex life. What is that? Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. When you get a higher taste, millions and trillions of times, the bliss of even the impersonal Brahman, what to speak of sex life within this world, that even a hog can have. Even the bliss of Brahman multiplied by 1,000,000,000 times is insignificant drop compared to the ocean of bhakti. These are the descriptions of the Shastra. So, there is absolutely no interest for such a person in sex indulgence. So, going back, may that personality who is everything to Bhagavan, this is Madana-mohana-mohini. Oh, yeah, I wanted to show the other verse. Okay, let's go back again. It's a very nice verse. You see, this is why she is Madana-mohana-mohini. She is everything to Krishna. Śrī Rādhikāyāh priyatā surūpatā sushīlatā nartana gāna chāturi gunāli sampat kavitā cha rājate jaganmano-mohana chitta mohini. This is a beautiful description of Srimati Radharani. The female parrot said, Srimati Radharani's affection, her exquisite beauty and good behavior, her artistic dancing and chanting and her poetic compositions are all so attractive that they attract the mind of Krishna, who attracts the mind of everyone in the universe. How much Srimati Radharani loves Krishna, Krishna also could not understand. And therefore, to understand what she was feeling, he came down as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, sometimes Krishna does this. He wants to taste his own sweetness. So there is a nice thing in the purport. Prabhupada says that, that verse, that song is there. Kararavindena padaravindam mukharavinde viniveshayantam vatasya patrasya puteshayanam balam mukundam manasa smarami balam mukundam manasa smarami. So this verse, this Bala Mukunda Stotra, Bala Mukunda Ashtakam by Bilumangal Thakur, first verse, Kararavindena. Aravinda means lotus. Kara means hand, lotus hands. Kararavindena padaravindam. Padaravindam means the lotus feet. So with his hand, Kararavindena means by his hand, he takes his lotus feet. Kararavindena padaravindam mukharavinde viniveshayantam. He puts his lotus feet in his mouth. Because all the devotees try to get the nectar from the Krishna's lotus feet. So he wants to sometimes taste the nectar of his own feet. So he puts his toe into his mouth. And when is he doing this? This looks like a cute, a baby would do this, Actually, he was like a baby. And where was he? Not in a comfortable cradle, in a summer. Of course, he's always comfortable, but not in a house like that. In the waters of devastation of the universe, when the universe is being annihilated, when the ocean, Garbhodaka ocean is swelling up, and huge tsunami is a small word. Tsunami is nothing. Tsunami is like a small ripple compared to the kind of waves that come at the time of devastation. And he was surfing those waves on a banyan leaf, lying down, baby Krishna, and putting his lotus feet with his lotus hands into his lotus mouth and tasting the nectar of his own feet. So Krishna sometimes does this. But in his own position as Krishna, he cannot taste the full sweetness of Krishna. he has to taste it from the viewpoint of Radharani, because what she was feeling, he could not understand. And that's why here it is said, yeah, this. So these two things, two verses are there. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Hladini Shaktirasmad Ekatmana Vapi Pura Deha Bhedam Gatauto Chaitanyakhyam Prakatamadhuna Tadvayam Chaikyamaptam Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. It's not the external misery-giving potency, which is Maya. Internal pleasure-giving potency, which is Yoga Maya, or spiritual energy, Antaranga Shakti. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, previously they separated themselves. Now these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. Then next, Śrī Rādhāyah pranaya mahima kīdrisho vānayaiva svādyo yenādbhuta madhurima kīdrisho vāmadiyah saukyam chasya madanubhavatah kīdrisham veti lobhat tadbhavadhyah samajanishachi garbha sindho harindu. This is the real reason, the confidential reason of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. One is the external reason is for him to spread the Sankirtan movement. The internal reason is to taste the happiness and the devotion that Radharani feels for Krishna, which Krishna could not understand himself in his own position. Only from the position of bhakti he could understand Krishna, more than even Krishna himself could understand himself. So here, desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes, not even Krishna relishes. She alone relishes through her love, and the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love, the Supreme Lord Hari, richly endowed with her emotions, appeared from the womb of Srimati Sachi Devi as the moon appeared from the ocean. The ocean of milk was churned by the Asuras and Suras, and many things came out of that ocean, and one of them was the moon. Of course, modern scientists, they don't accept these things, but we don't care. That's another topic. But so to taste the love of Radharani and the happiness that she feels, the wonderful qualities in him, in Krishna, that she alone can relish. So Krishna took the role of a devotee in the form of in the mood and sentiment of Radharani, in the complexion of Radharani, and he was trying to taste the love of Krishna. So this is the confidential reason of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. Now, now we'll go back again. May that personality who is everything to Bhagavan completely destroy our false ego and grant us shelter at her feet. We have false ego, we think we are this body, and even when we come to devotion, we think maybe we are a big devotee or something. Nobody can be anywhere close to Srimati Radharani at all. So she destroys our false ego and shows us what, because she shows us what actual devotion is. Compared to that, our ego will be gone. Okay, I thought I was a big devotee. Enough, I am nothing. Please, you save me, Radharani. You please save me. So, may that personality who is everything to Bhagavan completely destroy our false ego and grant us shelter at her feet. Today is her appearance day. Having accrued all varieties of compassion from Bhagavan, she distributes Okay. Having accrued all varieties of compassion from Bhagavan, she distributes that gift. She distributes that as gifts to all. So Krishna is, Karuna Sindhu. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu. But she is the personification of his mercy. So that's why he's saying she has accrued all varieties of compassion from Bhagavan, and she distributes that mercy as gifts to all. So the spiritual master is coming in the line of Srimati Radharani, especially in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, and he is giving that gifts to everyone. Krishna consciousness. May that personification of great mercy manifest within our hearts and make her appearance there. See how beautiful is the prayer here. Yes, Srimati Radharani's appearance day, yes. But what about her appearance in my heart? That is what really matters. That appearance is what we should crave for on her appearance day. So that is real. That is the real mission of our Krishna consciousness movement. Once Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, I have told this many times. Once Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura was praised for constructing about 64 temples all over India, Gaudiya Math temples, and he said, "No, my mission is to actually build a temple in everyone's heart." Now this is not like a sentimental line. This has a lot of meaning. Because all these temples that we're building, the deity worship and all these things, Shadvarga Samyamaikanta. What is that? I think 7:15:28, right? See, why are we doing all these big projects? What is the real project here? Why are we constructing temples? Why are we printing books? Why are we distributing them? All of this, why are we doing? षड्वर्ग संयमैकान्ताः सर्वान् नियमचोदनाः तदन्ता यदिनो योगान् आवहेयुः श्रमावहाः. So, ritualistic ceremonies, regulative principles, austerities, and the practice of yoga are all meant to control the senses and mind. But even after one is able to control the senses of mind, if one does not come to the point of meditation upon the Supreme Lord, all such activities are simply labor in frustration. So if we have to come to the point of meditation upon the Supreme Lord, like how Hanuman showed in his heart, he was so confident Sita and Ram were there. Not only he could see, he could show others also. So, where is that appearance of Radharani and Radha Krishna coming in our heart? What is that? Vasur hiya pashan diya, kemone gadya che. Vasudev Ghosh. He is singing very nicely. Jadi gaur na hoito tabe ki hoito. Kemone dharitam de. Radhar mahima prema rasa sima. Jagate janato ke. Very beautiful. So he said, what would have happened if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not come? How would we have maintained our bodies? Who would have understood the topmost limit of loving affairs that comprise the glory of Śrī Radha? Without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, we cannot understand Radharani. That's why if you see in other sampradayas, they don't really understand Radharani very well. Many of them don't even accept. Some sampradayas don't even accept Radharani as an actual consort of Krishna. So she's very, very confidential. So to meditate on her, of course, one cannot meditate on her alone, Radha Krishna. That is the real point. So Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura in this lecture now is saying that may that Radharani Krishna been a little bit under the weather yesterday and today. So may that Srimati Radharani make her presence in our heart. May she appear in our heart. Let us celebrate that appearance of Srimati Radharani. Well, now there is no celebration because she hasn't appeared in my heart. Let's long for that appearance of Radharani. Let's pray for that. That is the prayer here. May that personification of great mercy manifest within our hearts and make her appearance there. May her appearance there be the concern of our adoration. Generally, we hear that the whole world is maintained by Govinda. Many people discuss about Govinda in this way. Yet there is one whom Govinda himself considers as his sarvasva, his all in all. Without taking shelter of that personality, we will not be able to comprehend what sarvasva actually means. So, this sarvasva, let's again go back to the. So, actually, this I think word is used in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. If we search for sarvasva, there's there is no other process to achieve him. That supreme potency of the Lord is known as Gokuleshwari. So here, this is from where is this? This is from Narada Pancharatra, the conversation between Shruti and Vidya. So here there is a mention of Ekeyam Prema Sarvasva Swabhava Gokuleshwari Anaya Sulabho Gneya Adidevo Khileshwaraha. So here there is a mention. Govinda Sarvasva. You see, this is the one. Adi 482. Govindanandini Radha Govinda-mohini Govinda Sarvasva Sarvakanta Shiromani. See? Radha is the one who gives pleasure to Govinda, and she is also the enchantress of Govinda. She is the be all and end all of Govinda and the crest jewel of all his consorts. In fact, she is the origin of even all the Lakshmis and even the Durga. She is the origin of everyone. Just like Krishna is the origin of all his expansions, Vishnu Tattva, Srimati Radharani is the origin of all the Shakti Tattvas of Krishna, all the different energies. Govinda Sarvasva. So this word Sarvasva, the be all and end all of Govinda, is everything. So that is what Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura is referring to. So without taking shelter of that personality, we will not be able to comprehend what Sarvasva actually means. The word Sva means one's own, and Sva also means treasure. Sva means Govinda's own and also one who is Govinda's treasure. She is the complete wealth of Govinda, the wealth of Govinda. See how he is describing. She is Govinda's Sarvasva Vastu. When we make her our worshipable object, then we will understand the actual meaning of worship. If we worship the personification of worship of Krishna, then we will know what is actually worship. Sometimes we think we worship Krishna. No. Here he is saying, when we make her, Srimati Radharani, who is the personification of all Aradhana, then we understand what is actually Aradhana. All the Shastras loudly proclaim that those things in relation to Bhagavan are the objects of worship. Apart from him, no one else can be worthy of the word Aradhya. So you see, those things that in relation to Bhagavan are the objects of worship. All the Shastras loudly proclaim. Is actually mentioned in the Padma Puran by Lord Shiva. What did he say? Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnuradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. (1131) Madhya. So Tadiyanam, this Tadiyanam is important word. Okay, Tadiya. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnor aradhanam param. Of all types of worship, Vishnu's worship is highest, but higher than Vishnu's worship. Tasmat parataram. Taram. Parataram means higher than Vishnu's worship is Tadiyanam, of persons in relationship with Lord Vishnu. If we worship them, that is higher than worshipping Vishnu. See, Lord Shiva told the goddess Durga, my dear Devi, although the Vedas recommend worship of demigods, the worship of Lord Vishnu is topmost. However, above the worship of Lord Vishnu is the rendering of service to Vaisnavas who are related to Lord Vishnu. Why is it higher to worship the Vaisnavas? Because that is the easier way to please Krishna. If you go to Krishna directly, Krishna says in the 11:28, just 3 verses before this, ये मे भक्त जनाः पार्थ न मे भक्ताश्च ते जनाः मद भक्तानां च ये भक्तास् ते मे भक्त तमामताः. Lord Krishna told Arjuna, those who are my direct devotees are actually not my devotees, but those who are the devotees of my servant are actually my devotees. To please Krishna, we must please his devotee. For example, let's take the opposite. If you want to make Krishna angry, you offend him, he does not feel very angry. In fact, there is verses there. भृत्यस्य पश्यति गुरून् अपि नापराधान् सेवां मनागपि कृतां बहुधाभ्युपैति आविष्करोति पिशुनेष्वपि नाभ्यसूयाम् शीलेन निर्मलमतिः पुरुषोत्तमोऽयम्. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Purushottama, the greatest of all persons, has a pure mind. He is so gentle that even if his servant is implicated in a great offense, he does not take it very seriously. Indeed, if his servant renders some small service, the Lord accepts it as being very great. Even if an envious person blasphemes the Lord never manifests anger against him. Such are his great qualities. So he does not get very angry. But when you offend his devotee, what happened to Hiranyakashipu? He was offending the Lord all the time. But when he started offending his devotee Prahlad, that's when he met his end. The Lord became so angry in Narasimhadev's form that nobody could pacify him except for Prahlad. Not even Brahma, not even Shiva, not even Lakshmi. Nobody could. That much anger. Because his devotee was offended. So he becomes more angry when his devotee becomes offended. Similarly, he becomes more pleased when his devotee is pleased. So, and who is his greatest devotee? Srimati Radharani. So, if we please her, if she recommends us to Krishna, Krishna cannot refuse. Even if we are hopeless in qualification, if Radharani recommends, because of his love for Radharani, he will have to accept us. That's how Krishna works. Recommendation. Yeah. Just like a henpecked husband. He may not like something, but if his wife likes something, then he will also like it because he likes his wife. So similarly, where is this coming from? This is coming from Krishna, because whatever Radharani likes, he will like, because he's just sold out to her, completely sold out. In this material world, of course, it is a it is a condemned thing that if a man is handpicked, that he only listens to his wife and nothing else. But in the spiritual world, it is the highest, and it is the loophole. It is the only loophole we have to go back to Krishna. We stand no chance of going back to Krishna at all. At all. You know, there is that Mahavatar Narsimha movie. I also watched it. So in that there is a nice dialogue of nice prayer of Prahlad Maharaj. Now I don't know if there is in the Bhagavatam or Vishnu Purana or where it is. So he is saying, actually his prayers are there in the 7th canto, 9th chapter, if you see, 8th verse, 9th verse. So he's saying how I'm so fallen. I'm from the Asura Kula. Brahma and the great demigods, they are unable to, satisfy him. Who am I? Who am I to satisfy the Lord? I'm coming from a low family and this and that, so many things. He was very humble. In that movie, there was this dialogue where Prahlad says, when oh Narayana, when will you come and become visible to my eyes? And then he prays, Actually, why do I think myself so qualified that because in his separation, in his mood of separation, he could not, when he did not see Narayana yet. Of course, that not seeing means actually he's seeing. That's the difference in Vipralambha. But anyway, his prayers in separation were, he was very eager to see Narayana, see the Lord. And then he said, why do I think myself so qualified that I can see the Lord? Even the greatest of Devatas are unable to see you. Why do I think myself so qualified or so audacious that I want to see you? Of course, I stand no chance to see you. It's my desire to see you is like the ant's desire to drink up the ocean. An ant drinking up the ocean is just impossible. It's completely impossible. That's where we stand. We are thinking, we're doing all this service, we're going back to Godhead. We stand no chance. But if Srimati Radharani recommends, Krishna stands no chance of rejecting us. The entire thing is, the entire thing is turned over its head. Turn on its head. The entire situation is turned on its head. And the situation becomes so favorable to us that Krishna cannot refuse. Yeah, like a dwarf trying to catch the moon. Yeah. So this is our position. But Radharani makes it so easy that Krishna cannot refuse even if he wants to. So, even in the case of Ambarish Maharaj, the Lord says to Durvasa, what does he say? 69. Last one, you see. Sadhushu prahitam tejah prahartuh kurute shivam. What is that? You see what he says. Please hear from me. By offending Maharaj Ambarish, you have acted with self-envy. If you envy someone, you want to do harm to that person, right? But if I offend the pure devotee, I am doing harm to myself. Because that person, the pure devotee, will not get offended. He will not get offended. He will not be harmed also. Who will get harmed? I will get harmed. So that is self-envy. You're so foolish, you're acting with self-envy. Therefore, you should go to him immediately without a moment's delay. One's so-called prowess, when employed against the devotee, certainly harms him who employs it. The offender gets harmed, not the offended. In fact, he's not even offended. He just blissfully oblivious, or he doesn't care. Tulyanindastu Tirumauni. So he doesn't care whether anybody praises or insults him. That is this. Thus, it is the subject, not the object, who is harmed. So in this way, so the main point is mentioned here, that if you want to displease Krishna, then displease his devotee. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasada, yasya aprasadan nagati kutopi. Same thing we sing every morning. The guru, who is a pure devotee, if he is satisfied, Krishna is satisfied. If he is not satisfied, then we have no chance. Nagati kutopi. No chance whatsoever in going back to Krishna. So, coming back again. Oh, that's what I actually went for. Tadiya. So Tadiya means Vaisnavas, Bhagavatam, Tulasi, and Mathura, the place of worship. Anything Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission or religion, cult, is that we should worship Krishna and his Vrindavan in the same way. So anything that is related to Krishna. So this is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. Tadiya, what is Tadiya? So that's why actually we have to go there, because otherwise I went for that actually. So Tadiya means anything related to the Lord, and we will see what is Tadiya. Tadiya. You see, Tadiya Sevana. Tadiya Sevana, rendering service to those things related to the Lord. So one of the favorable things. Now, what are the Tadiya? That is explained here. Tadiya, Tulasi, Vaishnava, Mathura, and Bhagavat. A charir seva hoy Krishner abhimat. Tadiya means the Tulasi leaves, the devotees of Krishna, the birthplace of Krishna, Mathura, and the Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. These are all Tadiya. And of course, Srimad Radharani is also Tadiya. She is the biggest Tadiya. Krishna is very eager to see his devotees serve these four things. That means if you want to become dear to Krishna, Tadiyanam Samarchanam Bhagavatam we have to read. Otherwise, we're not going to please Krishna. Forget it. Krishna is very eager to see his devotees serve these four things, namely Tulasi, Vaishnavas, Mathura, and Bhagavatam. So we have to, Mathura means not only the place of Janmasthan, but also the temple which is the embassy of Mathura. Krishna wants to see that we serve the temple, serve Tulasi, serve the Vaishnavas, and read and serve the Bhagavatam. Read Bhagavatam, share the knowledge of Bhagavatam, sell Bhagavatam, encourage others to read Bhagavatam, make them read, and follow by the instructions of the Bhagavatam. Reading Bhagavatam means to take those instructions and follow in the life. Okay, not just reading and life is something different. Life got nothing to do with your reading of Bhagavatam. No. Reading of Bhagavatam should lead to reformation of character. And one becomes more and more pure and becomes devotee of Krishna. Those symptoms must manifest. So, going back, Tadiya. So, all the Shastras say that Tadiya or anything related to Krishna is what we should worship. So, continuing on, all the Shastras loudly proclaim that those things in relation to Bhagavan are the objects of worship. Apart from him, no one else can be worthy of the word Aradhya, worship. At present, we are bound by ignorance and have forsaken our search, cheating ourselves out of attaining prema. So, we have forsaken our search for Krishna and our search for love of God, love of Krishna. We are doing everything else other than chase this prime objective of life. At the time when anarthas arise, we mistake him for something else. Our ultimate goal is artha, that which is necessary, the opposite of which is anartha. If we do not serve those innermost necessary ideals or perfections that are available to us, and if we do not gain instructions on the matter of service, then we will be ruled by our own false ego, rendering service unto something else other than that which is actually worthy of service. Beautifully worded, is it not? When we have anarthas, what happens? We mistake him for something else. We don't take Krishna seriously in our lives then, if we have anarthas. Krishna. If we have anarthas, if we have dirty things in the heart, anarthas means unnecessary things. Not only external paraphernalia like, TV or, something which are totally unnecessary, or a very lavish lifestyle, all these are unnecessary. But in the heart, there are so many unnecessary things. All those anarthas, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, whatever we have outside, external paraphernalia, are a manifestation of our innermost desires. If we really don't value material possessions, then we will not spend money and time on them. But if we do value them, that's when we consider them valuable. We wouldn't want to part with them. So that's the anartha. Now, when we are filled with anarthas, we don't take Krishna as artha or the goal or the necessity of our life. We don't consider Krishna a necessity in our life. Our problem, that is our disease. We think, yeah, he's optional. It's good to have Krishna in life, because no, it's not good to have. Everything else is bad. Hmm. Our ultimate goal is artha. So reading on, that which is necessary, the opposite of which is anartha. So unnecessary things. If we do not serve those innermost necessary ideals or perfections that are available to us, and if we do not gain instructions on the matter of service, then we will be ruled. You see, if we do not gain instructions on the matter of service, so if we do not engage in service and if you're not interested in that, forget it. I mean, there is zero chance. There is exactly zero chance of coming out of this network of Maya. It's the only way. Kleshagni, Subhada, Mokshalaghuta Krit, Sandrananda, Visheshatma, Sri Krishna Karshini Chasa. The six effects of taking to devotional service. First thing is Kleshagni. All troubles will be killed. Dhni means killer, killer of troubles. Bhakti is the killer of troubles. Kleshagni. So if we have to engage in service, now our mind will be very disturbed. We don't want to engage in service. It seems counterintuitive that when I'm in such a disturbed state of mind, I have to do service. How can I focus on my service? No. Once we focus on service, that trouble itself will get solved. 11:29:21. This is the verse. That's why it is said like that. Okay. What is it said? That in a dangerous situation or in a troublesome situation, whatever, what do? People cry. People get all emotional. You see. यो यो मयि परे धर्मः कल्प्यते निष्फलाय चेत् तदा यासो निरर्थः स्यात् भयादेरिव सत्तमा. Nirartha, futile. Anartha, nirartha, nishphalaya. So, O Uddhava, greatest of saints, in a dangerous situation, or let us replace that with troublesome situation, anything, an ordinary person cries, becomes fearful, and laments. Although such useless emotions do not change the situation. So we try to adjust material circumstances to solve a material problem. But that's not the way it works. Those useless emotions do not change the situation. But activities offered to me without personal motivation, even if they're externally useless, amount to the actual process of religion. Bhakti. They may seem externally useless, especially in the beginning when I'm having a problem. Bhakti seems to be the last thing I should be doing. I have no focus, I have nothing. I cannot focus on this. But once we do it, then it captures us and it completely kleshagni. Susukham kartum avyayam. Happily we can perform. And all those misconceptions, everything gets sorted out immediately. That's the effect of bhakti. So, going back to the article again. If we do not serve those innermost necessary ideals or perfections that are available to us, and if we do not gain instructions on the matter of service, then we will be ruled by our own false ego, rendering service unto something else other than that which is actually worthy of service. What is actually worthy of service? Krishna. So we will not serve Krishna. Only divine love for God is worthy of worship. Not even God, divine love of God is worthy of worship. And of course, that means God is included in love of God. How can you love love God without God being there? But God without love, we cannot really approach Him. But with love of God, we can approach God. Only divine love for God is worthy of worship. Understanding this point clearly, we live with the fervent hope that we will eventually be counted amongst her retinue. Otherwise, it is better for us to die thousands of times. It is not worth living. Not once, thousands of times. If we don't have, okay, let's get to the seriousness of the statement. Understanding this point clearly, we live. That means Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura is saying we Vaishnavas live, or in other case, in other words, we should live. He lives with the fervent hope, and actually he's already there. He's already amongst the retinue of Radharani. Retinue means her phalanx or her platoon or whatever, her company, her confidential associate. So we should, as devotees, should live with the fervent hope that we will be eventually counted amongst her retinue. You know what that means? You know what the seriousness of that is? Fervent hope that we will eventually be counted amongst her retinue. Forget about hoping to go there. अरे 16 rounds अगर खत्म हो गए तो बस है मेरे लिए. I mean, if I can finish 16 rounds today, that's enough. What is this all reading and all this? Not for me. What are we doing this all for? We have to have, that's why he's teaching us how to actually live, how to think. We live with the fervent hope that we will eventually be counted amongst her retinue. You know, the elite of the elite of the elite. You know, sometimes when you go to an army, there is the, commandos and what is the Navy SEALs? I think that's the top in US Army. Military. Navy SEALs. I mean, the top of the top of the top elite forces. In any field. I mean, take cricket, the international, players, elite of the elite. Fighters, martial artists, elite. Everywhere, businessmen, politicians, whatever. Elite of the elite. Now, the real elite is to be one of the confidential associates of Srimati Radharani. So to get to that, if going to and becoming a Navy SEAL is so difficult, becoming a commando is difficult, what do we think? How is it easy to go to Radharani's company? No. We have to be completely pure. And he's saying, if we do not harbor such hope, fervent hope, not just hope, fervent hope, feverish hope of this is greed for Krishna, laulyam. If we don't have that, better for us to die thousands of times. No use. Go on in cycle of birth and death. Don't even come back. Samsara dhavanala. Why lead loka? Samsara dhavanala lead loka. Tranaya. Why do you want tranaya? Don't want tranaya. Stay in the samsara dhavanala lead loka. So that's what he's saying. So asha bhara. So here, unfortunately, in this article, there is no diacritics. Asha bharaku vilapaku sumanjali. Okay, we will go to this actually with diacritics. It's a very nice verse. We'll go with the diacritics because you can chant it properly, it'll be nicer. Vilapa Kusumanjali. Okay, see. Asha bharairamrita sindhumayaihi kathanchit kalo mayati gamitah kila sampratam hi tvam chet kripam mayi vidhasyasi naiva kim me pranair vrajena chavaro rubakarinapi. O ravishingly beautiful Śrī Radhe, I am passing my days and nights in torment with the singular hope that I may obtain the ocean of immortal nectar. So kindly shower your grace upon me. For deprived of your mercy, of what use are my life, residence in Vraja, or even servitorship to Krishna, the enemy of Bakasura? What is the use of my life? Even if I can serve Krishna, what is the use of my life if I am devoid of your mercy? What kind of prayer is this? Even if I am a servant of Krishna, if I cannot get the mercy of Radharani, what is the use of my life? How is? Then next, these both verses are quoted. आनाथ गोकुल सुधाकर सुप्रसन्न वक्त्रारविंद मधुर स्मित हे कृपार्द्र यत्र त्वया विहरते प्रणयैः प्रियारात् तत्रैव मामपि नय प्रिय सेवनाय. O moon of Gokula, Krishna, your lotus-like face is always beautifully decorated with a charming smile. O embodiment of compassion, the place where you always take Srimati Radhika for amorous pastimes, kindly take me there also so that I may serve your beloved. See? This was quoted in Jaiva Dharma. So, in that lecture, it is slightly differently translated, but you get the meaning. We'll go there. My throat isn't doing so well, actually. I don't know how long I can speak like that. O Varoru, my beautiful, most magnanimous goddess, my heart is flooded with an ocean of nectarian hopes. I have somehow been passing my time until now, eagerly longing for your grace, which is an ocean of ever-cherished nectar. If still you do not bestow your mercy on me, then of what use to me are my life, the land of Raja, or even Sri Krishna, who without you is simply a mighty hero, the destroyer of demoniac forces like Baka. He's not even Raghunath Das Goswami here. He's not even interested in Krishna if there is no Radha. So then the other verse which we also sang. O Lord, O ambrosial moon of Gokula, O Lord whose beautiful face is like a lotus flower, O sweetly smiling one, O you who are soft and compassionate, so I may render service unto you, please take me to where your beloved sports in loving pastimes with you. Where your beloved sports in loving pastimes with you. So Vilapa Kusumanjali 100 and 102. 102 was the previous verse, 100 was this verse. This is the devotee's only desirable hope. When will that ocean of nectarian hope bear fruit? I believe it is imperative that I maintain my life because of that hope. So, one should live life only with that hope that, one day one can get this mercy of Srimad Radharani. With that as the only hope in life one should live. Not for hoping that I will get money, hoping I will get this house, this job, this and that. That's not the hope. That is durashaya bahirarthamanina. This is all external useless hope against hope. Because even if we get that, we will lose it. We're not going to have it all our lives. What are we going to have that for? How long are we going to have that? Whatever we want to have. We should only want to have the hope. Laulyam, we should be greedy. More greedy than all the businessmen put together for Krishna. I believe it is imperative that I maintain my life because of that hope. But because our eagerness does not increase, that hope is not completely attained. You see, because our eagerness does not increase. This is our problem. And that hope is not completely attained, that hope is not fruitful. If our hope increases, if our eagerness, if our greediness for Krishna, for Radharani increases, then yes. So what does that mean? How to become more and more greedy for Radharani? What does that actually mean? How does that look like in real life? How would I become more greedy for Radharani's mercy? That means I have to take up more and more service. I have to be engaged in ever more service. And engage others in service, expand the movement. Because Radharani, what she wants? She wants to bring more and more souls to Krishna. So we should do that. That is service to Radharani. Expand our service for Radharani means preaching. book distribution, making devotees, training them up in every single aspect of devotional life, deity worship, cooking, Vaishnava etiquette, huh? Sadachar, the proper behavior of Vaishnava, every aspect uh, of service. Huh? So that expansion of Krishna's movement, which is also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, that is what we should take up. Uh, increase our quality of service, increase our quantity of service. Both. Why only quality without quantity? Why quantity without quality? Both should increase. If our quality increases, quantity also increases. So, he's saying, but because our eagerness does not increase, that hope is not completely attained, our hope is not fruitful. If that hope is not fulfilled today, if today Govinda's Sarvasva does not manifest in our hearts, today means on the Radharani day, on the appearance day of Radharani, if she does not appear in our heart, then we have been deceived, we have been cheated. You will not be able to find anyone more unfortunate than us in the history of the world. And it's, although I'm laughing, it's not a laughing matter at all. I'm just laughing at how seriously he's saying this. You will not be able to find anyone more unfortunate than us in the history of the world if she does not manifest in our hearts. If we are cheated out of serving that personality whose mercy awards us everything we need, means Radharani, including residence in the Lord's holy dham and all things connected to him, and if we cannot understand her identity or discover her within the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, then our study of Srimad Bhagavatam has been pointless. What an emphatic statement that is. I want to read that again. It's just so, you see, as we in the beginning we said, Bhagavatam hardly, there is no direct mention of Srimad Radharani. In one verse, 10:30:28, there is an indirect reference to Radharani, and that's like the kettle drum announcing the presence of Srimad Radharani. But here, what Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura is saying, if we are cheated out of serving that personality whose mercy awards us everything we need, including residence in the Lord's holy dham and all things connected to him, and if we cannot understand her identity or discover her within the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, then our study of Srimad Bhagavatam has been pointless. That means she is there in every single one of those 18,000 verses. And if we cannot recognize that, our study of Bhagavatam is pointless. So if we study Bhagavatam and we cannot find Radharani, we have missed the point of Bhagavatam, is what he's saying. So, because Bhagavatam is what? What is Bhagavat? Related to Bhagavan. Who is the most dearmost relative of Bhagavan? Srimad Radharani. And if you are saying Srimad Bhagavatam and we do not know the highest Bhagavata, Srimad Radharani, what is our understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam? So, how he's saying, you see, so emphatically. Being intimately acquainted with her identity, Sri Gaurasundar has spoken to us on the topic of Unnata Ujjvala Rasa. Unnatojjvala Rasa. Anarpita charim chirat karunaya vatirna kalau. What is that? Harihi purata sundara dhyuti kadamba samvipita. Second line. Forgot. Okay, let's go there. Anarpita charim chirat karunaya vatirna kalau. Samarpayitumunnatojjvala raso. Samarpayitumunnatojjvala swabhakti shriyam. Harihi purata sundara dyuti kadamba sandipita. Sada hridaya kandare spuratu vah shachi nandana. You see this word? Unnata ujjvala rasam. Unnata ujjvala rasam. What is this? Let's go. What is unnata? Elevated. Unnata means elevated, the highest. Ujjvala rasam, the conjugal mellow. Ujjvala, the brightest of the rasa, is conjugal mellow. Swabhakti Shriyam, Purata Dyuti Sandipataha, Harihi Purata Sundara Dyuti Dyuti, Hari Purata Sundara Kadamba, Kadamba, Harihi Purata Sundara Dyuti Kadamba Sandipita, Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratuva Sachinandana. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Shachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost chambers of your heart. Resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, he has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before. Anarpita charim chirat karunaya vatirna kalau. Anarpita. Arpita means to offer. No incarnation has offered this thing which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is offering. Anarpita charim chirat karunaya vatirna kalau. For a very, very long time, nobody has done it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did this in the previous Kalpa of Brahma, 8.64 billion years back. Now he's again coming back to do this. So, Anarpita Charim. So, he has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. This Unnata Ujjvala Rasa means the most highest elevated rasa, which is the conjugal mellow, Madhurya Rasa. And even in Madhurya, there are two kinds of Madhurya, Swakiya and Parakiya. Parakiya is even higher than Swakiya. That means loving Krishna as a paramour. That means somebody other than husband, extramarital affair, seemingly. That is higher than even the married love of Krishna, like Rukmini has for Krishna. Because the risk involved for loving Krishna in the paramour situation is far greater than that in the Swakiya situation, which is like the wife. So, coming back, being intimately acquainted with her identity, Sri Gaurasundar has spoken to us on the topic of Unnata Ujjvala Rasa, the highest mellows of conjugal love, explaining the various ways of serving the Lord and the process of pure service. It is only because he spoke to us about Ujjvala Rasa that we may understand the topic, as well as the opposite, the meager splendor of material rasa. So, the meager splendor of material rasa is the sex life. We will understand the true situation of sex life and the conjugal mellow of Krishna's Madhurya Ras only because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has revealed it to us. The distinction between both of them and the absolute supremacy of Madhurya Ras, Ujjvala, Unnata Ujjvala Rasa. In order to incite us to render service unto him, Bhagavan has personally given us knowledge of himself in so many ways. So Krishna gives us knowledge about himself not to just satisfy our intellectual curiosity or provide us some intellectual gratification, but to actually love him and serve him. That's why he allows us to know him by revealing himself in the form of books, in the form of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and Acharyas. He comes himself so many ways. However, it is necessary that we fully understand that personality. You see, in order to incite us to render service unto him, Bhagavan has personally given us knowledge of himself in so many ways. However, it is necessary that we fully understand that personality who has rendered such perfect service to Bhagavan that he has made her the object of his own service. So, if we know about God, we will want to serve him. But here he is saying it is necessary that we fully understand that personality who, the repository of all service, himself serves. The recipient of all the service of great devotees, millions and trillions and gazillions of them, such person serves single pointedly. Who? Radharani. So it is necessary for us to fully understand that personality, the Radharani. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it possible for us to understand Srimati Radharani. Those who praise her can award us the qualification to serve her, and they can manifest anuraga, attachment for her lotus feet within our innermost heart. You see, those who praise her or glorify her can award us the qualification to serve her. So, how to get her favor? Those who glorify her. If we please them, then they will give us the award as the qualification to serve her. That's why Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, at the end of every single chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says, Rupa Raghunate Pade Hoibe Akuti. No, what is that? Rupa Raghunate Mora Pade Mora Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishnadas. So, I always, in fact, the other song is also there. रूप रघुनाथ पदे होइबे आकुति तबे हमें बुझाबो श्री जुगल प्रीति. So unless we go through the Goswamis, who are the confidential associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we cannot understand Radha and Krishna love. We have to go through his pure devotees in the proper lineage. So those who praise her can award us the qualification to serve her, and they can manifest anuraga, attachment for her lotus feet within our innermost heart. So in order to get to Srimati Radharani, you have to go through her servants and 6 Goswamis. How to go to 6 Goswamis? Through their servant. Their servant of servant of servant of servant, that is the parampara system. Dasa dasa anarthas. So that's why we have to serve our spiritual master. How to serve our spiritual master? Prabhu, I am serving. Prabhu, I am chanting 16 rounds. I am following 4 principles. So I'm serving. No, you're not serving. Who is serving the spiritual master? Those 16 rounds and following 4 principles is to maintain our spiritual health, to be fit, to actually serve. Yeah. Yes, there is service. Chanting is service. Following 4 regulatory principles, yes. But that is just to make us fit to do the real service, which is to preach. Preaching. Because in that activity is our auspiciousness. Because the Lord wants that. He wants preaching to be done. So the books must go out. So this is the way to. People must read the books. People must be trained according to the books. All these things are important. So, reading on. The intelligence and strength to serve her is attained by accepting the association of her beloved friends who are under her shelter. In this way, we may realize that service to her is our highest objective. So, basically, we have to serve the spiritual master, the instruction of the spiritual master. If you see Prabhupada, what did he say? My Guru Maharaj ordered me to preach in the Western countries. Krishna. Actually, I wanted to do this class yesterday, Monday. Because Monday we used to have this articles of Vaishnava Acharyas. But yesterday my health was not good at all. So I thought today at least I'll do. Today is also not so good. But Radharani is already finished, so today already is the second day after that. How long should we wait? So, 1 second here. Camera. Okay. In this way, we realize that service to her is our highest objective. When we can understand through the instructions of the Mahajans that she is Bhagavan's Sarvasva, we must proceed to serve her, knowing that the prosperity of worship only exists in her. From this day forward, her appearance day, if we engage in her service, then we shall become qualified to reach the pinnacle of the highest type of auspiciousness. All of us do not pray for that highest auspiciousness. But if by some Ajnata Sukriti or devotional service without them knowing, due to the agency of the devotees. We obtain the association, but if we, by some Ajnata Sukriti, we obtain the association of one of the associates of Vrishabhanu Nandini, means Radharani, who is the personification and source of supreme auspiciousness, and if we are granted the actual good fortune of hearing genuine discussions about her, then we can attain the inspiration to journey along along the path of highest auspiciousness. If we deprive ourselves of rendering service to and taking shelter of she who means everything to Nandanandana, the emporium of rasa, Akhila Rasamrita Sindhu, Akhila Rasamrita Murti, as well as her associates. So, if we deprive ourselves of rendering service to and taking shelter of she who means everything to Nandanandana, the emporium of rasa, that means the reservoir of all rasa, Akhila Rasamrita Murti, Krishna Kripamurti, Akhila Rasamrita Murti, the emporium of all rasas, or the fountainhead and the reservoir of all rasa, mellows of devotional service. So, Krishna is that. So, if we deprive ourselves of rendering service to Radharani, who means everything to Krishna, as well as her associates, then we will never attain the qualification to serve Govinda. Firstly, to understand her identity, we believe that it is necessary to know her name. So how to serve Radharani? To understand her identity, we believe that it is necessary to know her name. But while studying the Bhagavat, we cannot find any occurrence of her name. We only find descriptions of her form, qualities, the distinctive characteristics of her companions, and her pastimes. In Bhagavatam, we find everything about Govinda's all in all, with the exception of her name. But we discover this in the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. Jnanam paramaguhyam me yad vijnana samanvitam sarahasyam tadangam cha grihana gaditam maya. This is 2931. Here it is mentioned 2930, but it's not. It's actually 2931. To be merciful upon you, I will teach you the most esoteric knowledge of me, including the realization of my nature and entourage, the inconceivable mystery of loving devotion of prema bhakti, and its constituent part in the form of devotional practice or sadhana bhakti. Now hear my message attentively and accept what I impart to you. So this is a very elevated translation of this verse. So because in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada did not exactly mention it like this. But Sarahasyam Tadangam cha, if you see, in Bhagavatam, he translated Sarahasyam as devotional service. So here, that Sarahasyam, the mystery of loving devotion or prema bhakti, which is the highest, and its constituent part in the form of devotional practice or sadhana bhakti. So in the Tattva Sandarbha, there is a very nice description that in sadhana bhakti, there is also prema bhakti. Why? Because through sadhana, one can get until prema. Ado shraddha, tato sadhasanga, tato bhajana kriya, tato anartha nivritti syat, tato nishtha, tato ruchis tatha, athasaktis, tato bhava, tato premabhyudanchati. Sadhakanam ayam premna pradurbhave bhavet kramaha. The chronological stages of advancement in devotional service, starting with faith, and then graduating to association of devotees, then actually engagement in service, initiation, and the expulsion of all anarthas or the unwanted things in the heart, all the dirty things that cloud our heart, and then becoming fixed in devotional service, then getting taste for devotional service, then becoming attached and mad after devotional service, then going into bhava, which is intensification of that ecstasy, and finally love of Godhead, prema. So these are the stages of advancement, and each of these stages are subdivided into further stages. So Sarahasyam, Rasarahasyam, here is the absolute mystery of that highest bhakti, highest edition of bhakti, which is prema bhakti, shraddha bhakti, Nishtha Bhakti, there is Ruchi Bhakti, there is Asakti Bhakti, there is Bhava Bhakti, then there is Prema Bhakti. So all these stages. So Sadhana Bhakti is in all the, until Bhava, Sadhana, and then when you get Prema, and then yes, one has attained the goal, the Prayojana. So here, this translation delves into the more esoteric aspect of this bhakti. Although it is the Chatushloki of the Bhagavatam, where it apparently doesn't seem like he's talking about this Radha Krishna love and Madhurya Ras, but it is there in that. Because why it is called Chatushloki Bhagavatam? Why? What is the meaning of Chatushloki Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam in 4 verses. Bhagavatam condensed into 4 verses. This is the 2931, 32, no, 2933, 34, 35, 36. This is just before that. So the entire Bhagavatam expands from these 4 verses. That means all the 10th canto pastimes are expanding from this verse, from these verses. So, this is not devoid. This translation is not something concocted. No, it is not. Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura is giving us. It is authorized and it is perfectly in line with the full message of Bhagavatam. Kalena nashta pralaye. This also, no diacritics. That's the problem with this article here. So we'll go back to that. What is the verse here? 11.14.3, I think, yeah. 11.14.3. Shri Bhagavanuvāca Kalena nashta pralaye vāniyam veda samyita mayado brahmane prokta dharmo yasyam madatmakaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, by the influence of time, the transcendental sound of Vedic knowledge was lost at the time of annihilation. Therefore, when the subsequent creation took place, I spoke the Vedic knowledge to Brahma because I myself am the religious principles enunciated in the Vedas. Then the next verse is also quoted in the article. Tena prokta svaputraya manave purvajaya sa tato bhrigvadayo grihanan sapta brahma maharshayah. Then the parampara, how it is coming down. Lord Brahma spoke this Vedic knowledge to his eldest son Manu, Swayambhu Manu, and the 7 great sages headed by Bhrigumuni then accepted the same knowledge from Manu. So in this way they are in the disciplic succession. We are coming in the same disciplic succession, Brahma, Narada. Here it is Brahma, Manu and Saptarshi. So like that it is going, different branch of the same Sampradaya. So Bhrigumuni is also in the Sampradaya, Saptarshis are in the Sampradaya in that way. So going back now. So there's 2 verses we have read. The message of the Vedas is eternal religion, non-different from me. When in the course of time those eternal teachings disappeared from view with the universal cataclysm, I imparted them to Lord Brahma at the dawning of a new creation. The Lord explained all these topics to Brahma, the original person, but after some time the people of this world forgot the Lord's words because the stream of their thoughts were subjected to the effects of old age and destruction. This is called Sakale Neha Mahata Yogo Nashta Parantapa. So over the course of time, the knowledge becomes lost. That's the nature of this material world. It's always destructive in nature. Jnanam paramaguhyam me yadvijnana samanvitam sarahasyam tadangam cha grahanagadhitam maya. Again the same verse. As I speak, listen to me and try to understand. Knowledge about me is extremely confidential. That knowledge is endowed with realization. It is knowledge possessed with confidentiality. It is a supreme secret. Rahasya means rahasi sthitaha. This means that those secrets cannot be assimilated by any external force, nor can any branch of those secrets be grasped. Due to the currents of thought that exist in the external world, We have forgotten the essential objective of taking shelter at the feet of those who have true knowledge of the Atma. Bhagavan is ever ready to bestow this knowledge. So it's quite easy to understand, I hope. So these secrets cannot be assimilated by external force. It has to be given to us, revealed to us by Krishna through the parampara system, and we have to take it. We have to accept it. That means we have to accept the process of devotional service given by the Guru. Then we will get Srimati Radharani's mercy for sure. Due to the currents of thought that exist in the external world, we have forgotten the essential objective of taking shelter at the feet of those who have true knowledge of the Atma. So, Bhagavan told Brahma, as I speak, listen to me and try to understand. Without my mercy, no one is eligible to hear or assimilate this message. Only through my mercy can anyone obtain this confidential knowledge. This mercy, without my mercy. This my mercy here is actually Radharani. The personification of Krishna's mercy is Radharani. So, in other words, if you read it that way, it is the meaning will be, as I speak, listen to me and try to understand. Without Srimati Radharani or her mercy, no one is eligible to hear or assimilate this message. Only through Srimati Radharani can anyone obtain this confidential knowledge. Through Radharani's mercy. What am I? What is my form? What is my Swarupa? What are my qualities? What are the distinctive characteristics of my confidants? What is my Leela? My with a capital M. All these are my with a capital M, which is Krishna. My supra-mundane pastimes that are surcharged with rasa far exceed the path of mundane sentiments. You see? The spiritual sentimental situation, the emotional, spiritual emotions have nothing to do with material emotions at all. Now, far above, far exceed the path of mundane sentiments. There is no way to attain this without the potency of my mercy, without the potency of Radharani. I am the storehouse of all transcendental qualities. I am not speaking about those qualities that are contaminated with the modes of passion and ignorance, but of those that are the foundation for creating, maintaining, and destroying the universe. I am distinguished by these attributes and I am the active cause of all effects. Thus, I am the essential original principle. This can only be realized by attaining my mercy or Radharani. In this way, the words Madana-mohana-mohini, my mercy, have been used. Information concerning Bhagavan's parts and parcels, information on confidential subjects related to him, information concerning realized knowledge, specifically that which is endowed with spiritual consciousness, and information concerning his opulence. These are all supremely confidential and non-dualistic. It can never be initiated at any period or for any reason without the express mercy of the Lord. This secret knowledge is thoroughly expressed in the beginning of the Chatushloki verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. See, we would never know this thing, this explanation of the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, if it is not explained by the Acharyas. How much knowledge is condensed in those verses? We are most fortunate that Sri Gaurasundar has revealed this to the world. A secret topic has been mentioned, but the name of that personality about whom the secret is concerned has not been uttered. Because it is a secret, it should not be revealed to those advocating foolish ideologies, and thus it has not been openly disclosed. After hearing the pastimes of Nanda Nandana as narrated in the Bhagavata, such people do not gain strong faith, and rejecting all these topics, they simply deliberate upon the impersonal, non-dual nature of the Lord, which is favorable to their mundane realizations. Some of them consider it reasonable to merge into that. So you see, here it is said, after hearing the pastimes of Nanda Nandana or Krishna, after hearing the pastimes of Krishna from the Srimad Bhagavatam, those people who do not know Radharani, such people do not gain strong faith even after reading Srimad Bhagavatam and rejecting all these topics, they simply deliberate upon the impersonal, non-dual nature of the Lord. They become Mayavadis if they don't take shelter of Radharani, which is favorable to their mundane realizations. Some of them consider it reasonable to merge into the Brahman effulgence. Without hearing from a proper source, their perceptions will be perverted. Due to their vehement hatred of service to the Lord, such persons can never understand topics concerning the intrinsic nature of bhakti. You see, very important. Due to their vehement hatred of service to the Lord. See, if they don't know Radharani, they don't know Aradhana or worship, because she is the personification of worship of Krishna. If they don't want to know her, if they don't know her, then they don't know what is Aradhana, they don't know what is service. That's why it is said their vehement hatred of service to the Lord can never understand topics concerning the intrinsic nature of bhakti, because they don't know the personification of bhakti, which is Radharani, and they don't accept her. Then they cannot really understand the topics concerning the intrinsic nature of bhakti. So there is a vehement hatred of service to the Lord. If I don't like Radharani, if I don't have an interest in Radharani, I have vehement hatred for service of the Lord. Because I hate, or I'm not interested in the personification of service of the Lord, Srimad Radharani. Now here is another very, very interesting line. Due to the trajectory of the sun, the appearance day of the Supreme Goddess, who is fully imbued with rasa, has arisen in our own radiantly pure hearts. The roaming sun is revealing that Supreme Goddess. The roaming sun is revealing that Supreme Goddess. Therefore, today the demigods are also showing us great favor by revealing this secret. So I think we will stop it at this point. I will just explain this last line. And I think we will stop it here and continue tomorrow, Wednesday. And hopefully finish this in 2 parts, because I can't go speaking much longer today. And so here, what is said, the sun, what does the sun do for the materialist? Ayur harati vaipumsan, ayur harati vaipumsam, udyan astanchayan nasao, tasyarto yat kshanonita, uttama shloka vartaya. So the sun, by rising and setting, he is taking away our duration of life. He is stripping us of our lifetime in this body. So whatever we have earned, whatever we have gathered in this life, they are being destroyed day by day by the sun. So the sun, with its sunrise and sunset, is destroying our life. But for the devotees, you see what the sun does? Due to the trajectory of the sun, the appearance day of Supreme Goddess, Radharani, has arisen in our own radiantly pure hearts. So for the devotees, the sun gives or shows us the different dates of the pastimes of the Lord. By the sun moving, one day the Janmashtami will come, one day Rath Yatra will come, Radhāṣṭamī will come, Jhulan Yatra will come, Vamana Dwadashi is going to come. And Acharya's appearance and disappearance days are there. Different avatars, different expansions and avatar incarnations of Krishna, their appearances are there. Ekadashi is there every 2 weeks. So all these things are revealed by the sun, because by the sun's movement only these days are coming. So somebody the other day asked me, what is the why should we do Brahma Gayatri, which is a salutation to the sun? Well, this is another reason. When I read this article, I was like, wow, this is another reason. Not only does the sun represent the eye of the Supreme, it is the eye of the Supreme Lord. The sun himself is actually a pure devotee coming in the sampradaya of the Lord, which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan. So Krishna spoke to sun god. So he is not only giving off material light, which is sunshine, but also the spiritual light of knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And apart from that, Just like the sun shines up lights up all the planetary systems, the three Bhur, Bhuva, and Svargaloka. Similarly, let Krishna, who is the supreme sun, Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Andhakar, Jahan Krishna, Tahan Nahe, Maya Radhikar. So, Krishna is like the sun, and when he reveals himself, then there is no more Maya. And Prakashayati Tatparam, the sun reveals everything. When the sunlight is there, it reveals the sun, it reveals us, and it reveals all the surroundings. We can see everything when the sunlight is there. So such clear vision is possible by the sun. So similarly, when we have spiritual knowledge of Krishna, everything lights up. We will know everything. We can see, we can understand God, we can see ourselves, we can see the world, everything in its proper perspective. So, and here today in this article, it is said that the sun, by its trajectory, it is revealing these days, appearance day of Radharani, appearance day of Krishna, appearance day of Ram, appearance day of Parshuram, appearance day of Vamanadev. All these things are mentioned. All these things are revealed by the sun. That's the other benediction of the sun. Okay, so I will stop it at here. Okay, so we will stop it here. Any questions or comments? Is there a link to this article? Yes, I will share it. Obviously, this is from a website which we do not endorse everything that is on this website. Okay, because we wouldn't want you to go and read anything and everything, because there are some personalities who have been featured on this website who have expressly gone against the sanctity of our sampradaya. But because this particular article is purely a reproduction of Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura's lecture, I have included. I mean, I've been showing this, but otherwise, we wouldn't recommend. It's not a blanket endorsement of everything that is on this website. Yeah, but yes, we will give that link in the description of today's video after the live stream, and you can read that. Now I'll go through some questions. Not feeling so good. Somebody is asking about envy. Regarding envy, if anybody is very eager to know about our spiritual life than themselves, anybody is very eager to know about our spiritual life than themselves, even though they are suffering from Maya so many ways, not able to engage in service, how to deal with the envy? How to deal with envy is to associate with Nirmatsaranam Satam, is to associate with those who are non-envious. And that's what the Bhagavatam is. Bhagavatam is full of examples of all great devotees who are non-envious. And by reading them, we get inspired by their qualities. But there's a dichotomy that exists, wherein when we read Bhagavatam, all pure devotees and the Lord and everything is mentioned, and then there are demons who are exactly opposite of it. And we read all these, pure devotees' way of acting or their conduct. Okay, so when we then associate with devotees, in the beginning we expect the devotees to be as good as Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruv Maharaj and gopis and all the great devotees like Ambarish Maharaj. We expect such qualities of devotees when we join Krishna consciousness. So there's this dichotomy where In the Bhagavatam, there are these pure devotees, and then in our experience, we will meet with devotees of all kinds of, at all statures, at all levels. But we should not be disheartened by that, because there is value in that. Now, it is easy for us to find fault with others and say, oh, they are not so advanced, they are not pure devotees. Okay, so am I. I am also not a pure devotee. Why should I find fault with them? Find fault with myself. So the whole point is, Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura said, this temple is like a hospital. Hospital is a place where you get cured of disease or whatever ailment you have. But if you go to the hospital, you will only find people with ailments. Isn't that a paradox? A hospital is a place where you get cured of all ailments. At least it's supposed to be. But then that's where you find all diseased people. Outside of the hospital, you may not find diseased people. There you will find. So what is that paradox? The paradox is, here we are being treated now. Okay? And there's value to that. Because we will see the conduct of, say, Prahlad Maharaj. Right? He tolerated so much offense. Now, where are we going to learn that tolerance? By reading Prahlad's life story, we will become tolerant? Not exactly. We will understand the value of tolerance. We will also have a North Star, a guiding standard of what tolerance means. How tolerant should we be? Prahlad Maharaj, the Pandavas, they're all very tolerant, right? So, we will know what the standard is. Then, we will be met with some friction in the association of devotees or with the non-devotees somewhere, because we're not, none of us are perfect. So, in social intercourse, we may have some disagreements, some unpleasant situations. That's when we need to exercise that muscle of tolerance. What we have learned, now we have to put it into practice. If everybody is perfect, when we will learn tolerance and with whom we will learn tolerance? So there is value to the fact that we are going to deal with devotees or people who are not pure devotees. That's where we learn. That's why we learn Trinadapi Sunichana Tarorapi Sarshana. If everybody is pure devotee, why are we tolerating devotees? We should revel in the company of devotees. Why are we tolerating devotees? Are they troublesome? So pure, if everybody is a pure devotee, then there will be no learning, no lesson in tolerance. Almost, there has to be some opposition for us to be tolerant of. Right? So therefore, devotees welcome hardships. They welcome. Vipadah santu ta shashvat tatra tatra jagat guru. Bhavato darshanam yat syad apunar bhava darshanam. Kunti Devi, at 110 years old, she is saying, all our lives we have had so many challenging situations, but you were always there with us in all those situations, because we always remembered you. Now that our sufferings have kind of ended, you're going away from us. No, that's not what we want. I want that we go through all those sufferings again and again. Shashwat, let us go through them eternally, because in those times we can easily remember you, because otherwise we can forget you. There's a risk of forgetting you, which will in turn cause us the risk of taking repeated birth and death in this material world. That we do not want. So a devotee welcomes trouble, because that's when he can actually put all his learning into practice and become actually a proper devotee. A diamond, a gem does not shine if it is not rubbed with sandpaper. Sandpaper is rough, but that's how diamonds are made. That's how gems are made. Diamond, I think hardly anything can happen with sandpaper. But gems are polished because of sandpaper. But sandpaper is rough. So if we want to become a gem of a devotee, we should welcome the sandpaper of trouble in this world. Otherwise, we want everything smooth and hunky dory. It's not going to work. We're not going to grow. So there has to be some friction, and that friction is a blessing. It's not a curse. It's a blessing. Any trouble, setback, or um, tough situation is a blessing because that makes us more Krishna conscious. It's an opportunity to become more Krishna conscious. It does not make us Krishna conscious, but it is an opportunity to exercise our learnings and become Krishna conscious. We should not give up. It's not that, oh, this is too tough for me to handle. I won't, let me not handle this. No, 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 no. Because at one point we're going to handle death. How are we going to handle that if we cannot even handle things, smaller things in life? How are we going to handle that? And how are we going to remember Krishna at the time of death? So I have to practice during the such tough situations because they are my preparation. You know, when before you go to the exams, there are preliminary exams, practice tests. These are practice tests. If I give up on the practice test, how am I going to all of a sudden pass the final test? So anyway, so that's that. So how to deal with envy? That was the question. Well, we have to just become Krishna conscious. That's all it is. Chant more. Trinada Pisuni Chena Tarora Pisayashana Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahare. That third verse of Shikshashtakam is the answer. How to deal with envy. You have to be humble. You have to actually, when we will care for the other person, when the other person is shooting envy at us, if we shoot back envy at that person, we are no better. We are absolutely no better. We have to have compassion for that person. Titikshavaha karunikaha. Compassion. We should know that how miserable that person should be, that he has nothing other than this to thrive on, to be envious. So let me help him out. Let me alleviate his burning envy because it is not affecting me. It is affecting him because he's so envious. So if I'm envious of someone, that person is not going to get affected by that. I'm going to get affected by that. My heart is going to become all, you know, clouded and burned out of that envy. So it's my own mind and my own heart I have to deal with. So envy is not good. So if somebody has envious nature towards us, we just have to be kind. If we have envy back towards them, we're not learning our lesson there. In even the Christians, they say, bless those who curse you. So how can that come about? When there is no ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva-mohena bharata. When there is no dualistic understanding in the brain. When there is no desire for sense gratification. When sense gratification means my senses have to be gratified, then I'm not Trinada Pasunichena. I'm not humbler than the grass. I'm not tolerant than the tree. I want it. I'm not tolerant of anything else. That is what causes the problem. Because my sense gratification is being challenged or threatened. That's the problem. Ichha dvesha. And somebody who threatens my sense gratification, I direct my envy towards that person. That's how it works. So ichha and dvesha samuthena. So if I do not have sense gratification, if I don't pursue sense gratification, nothing bothers me. Even if the other person is envious towards me, I will wish well for him. And not just wish, I will actually try to go out of my way to do something to help that person who's envious of me. Oh, he's suffering. That's why he's envious of me. He's suffering from, some sense gratificatory, whatever is going on. So let me help him out. Let me try to help him. How to help him? I have to think. Of course, giving the knowledge, but sometimes they don't like direct instructions. So maybe I'll ask somebody else to preach to that person or some other way. So we have to figure out. But anyway, in our heart, we should we should wish well for that person. That is called Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. Titikshava Karunika Suhridam Sarva Dehinam. Only a devotee, a Nirmatsara devotee can be Suhridam Sarva Dehinam. So we have to understand, we have to be humble, we have to be tolerant, we have to respect everyone. We should not expect any respect. Just just evaluate yourself. When something is bothering your mind, evaluate yourself against these four things. And don't be too fast in the evaluation. Examine closely, slowly. Am I being humble here? Am I being tolerant? Am I interested in my sense gratification? Amanina. Amanina means not wanting any recognition. Am I desiring sense gratification or am not? And manadena, am I giving respect or not? If we examine everything through this verse, we will see that we are falling short. And that's exactly why Kirtaniya Sadahari cannot happen. We cannot peacefully chant, we cannot peacefully engage in any service because we are tormented by a lack of humility, a lack of tolerance, a lack of um, a desire to get recognition, and what is the other one? And we not respecting others. If we are not humble, how can we respect others? Right? So that's where the answer is all the time. But to get that spiritual strength, we have to read and chant and to associate with devotees who can help us out. That's what association is for. And engagement in service is the definitive cure for this. And engagement in service means, of course, there's deity worship and all that, but eventually we have to learn how to associate with Vaisnavas. If I feel envy towards someone, let me actually serve that person, and my envy will go. So we have to. That's how we should do it. So, yeah. So a person who is secure in his relationship with Krishna via the bona fide spiritual master will not be affected by others. Absolutely. Um, so the question, I think, more context of the question is: I had the experience that they will say that they are so much merciful to us. I can set each moment they are suffering from Maya. Very funny to hear the merciful words. Advanced devotees preaching is for their purification, but these so-called pure devotees thinking they are so pure to preach for others' purification. These all false ego and envy. How to deal with them? Don't deal with them. Don't deal with them. We will just do our thing. If we can correct someone, if somebody is our junior, if we can guide them, if they are interested to take guidance, we will try to help. If they're not, we will do what we have to do. We have to follow what is the correct example. And then eventually, hopefully, they will see and follow. But if they are fortunate enough to actually ask or receptive to advice, then we can. And we should also observe Maryada Vyatikrama. So, anyway, that's a whole nuance. Yes. Seva Sukha Dukha Parama Sampada Nashaya Avidya Dukha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned this in the song Atma Nivedana Tuapade. So, yeah, that's from the comment section here. There's the fourth verse of that song. What is this? But is it right for the ISKCON people to be so obsessed with Manjari Bhava Sadhana? Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Do some proper sadhana bhakti first, and then eventually these things will be revealed. Manjari sadhana, what nonsense. By serving Srila Prabhupada and Vaisnavas, by getting their mercy, is it possible, Prabhu, to get Srimad Radharani as mother and Lord Krishna as father? Is this bhav possible in Goloka? Yeah. What do you think? What are we doing here? That's exactly the reason why we are here for. Otherwise, if we cannot get all this, why are we even following anything? We should have that faith. Hmm. Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura said in 1123.5 purport, the one should be intelligent and avoid future unhappiness by rejecting the ethic of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Yeah, this kind of behavior of wanting to have avenge or revenge, taking revenge for once somebody who has offended me, I should take revenge. This is very petty, very very petty. And you know who will suffer? You will suffer. If we do that, we will suffer. That person is not going to suffer because we are dealing with our own mind. Let's not forget that our mind is with us all the time. We can run away from people, we cannot run away from our mind. So that should be our project. Our project should be our mind. And Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo Maya Veshita. What is that? No. Maya Arpita Mano Buddhi. That's the thing we have to do. I'm afraid because I thought that bhav is not there in our sampradaya. Thank you so much for clearing that out. Hello. Bhava. What bhava is not there? It is not something that you can get. Today you start chanting, tomorrow you are having bhava. Let's not be so impatient. So, utsahan nischayat dhairyat. It requires lifetimes of chanting. Of course, it can be had in one moment if one fully surrenders to Krishna. Fully surrender is the underlined, underscored word phrase. So, if we don't fully surrender to Krishna, Bahujanma kare jodi shravan kirtan tabutana paya Krishna pade premadhan. We're not going to get love of Godhead even if we chant for millions and trillions of years. So we have to be actually coming to the proper standard of Vaishnava behavior. Then yes, we stand a chance. And only because of, again, Radharani's mercy, Srila Prabhupada's mercy. Through Prabhupada's mercy, we can get Radharani's mercy and Krishna's mercy. So, but yes, that perfection is open for everyone, provided we follow the recipe. If you follow the recipe, you will get the dish. If you follow the recipe. Oh, but so many people tried, they never got the correct way, correct thing. No. How they are following? Are they following every single detail to the letter? Are they following everything properly? So that it matters how one follows. It's not because so many people did not get the results, so therefore we lose faith in the result itself, in the process itself, in the recipe itself. No, the recipe is never wrong. How we apply ourselves to the recipe, that depends. If I'm not serious, I don't stick to the recipe. I just concoct my own thing. Then of course I'm not going to get the end product that I'm supposed to get. So that's where it is, and that's why Krishna is encouraging Arjuna. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamapashrita bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhavamagataha. So many persons in the past took up this process and came back to me. Chapter 4, text 10. So of course, for every person that went back to him, there are at least 1 trillion people who did not. But then he is encouraging us. Although it is Manushanam Sahasresu Kaschit Yatata Siddhaye Yatatam Api Siddhanam Kaschin Vyattimam Tattvataha. In the fourth chapter, Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvataha. This veti tattvataha, later on in the ninth chapter, he said, Kaschin veti mam tattvataha. Out of millions, one will understand me, tattvataha. So, that person will go back to Godhead. But he will go back because he is following the recipe properly. This veti tattvataha has to happen. But not many are interested in veti tattvataha. Krishna tattva vetta say guru hoy. So who's interested to become Krishna tattva vetta? If you're not interested, then how are we going to progress? Just because many people are not progressing does not mean progress cannot happen. I have to follow the process, then progress will happen. That's what it is. Accepting Radharani as mother and Krishna as father is not accepting, they are already our mother and father. They are already our mother and father. Mata pitahamasya jagato mata dhata pitamaha, Krishna is saying. So they already are. In fact, Prabhupada also mentioned Ma Radharani, Mother Radharani. So it's already there. It in fact goes above that, beyond that. Mother is simply mother-son or father-son is like a dasa relationship. This goes Madhurya. It is service, but it's a different mood. So, of course, we accept her, although when we say Mother Radharani, it's like more like a Lakshmi worship, Lakshmi Narayan worship. So, in the Madhurya circle, it is differently, she is differently addressed. That does not take away the fact that she is our mother. Just like Krishna is the father of everyone. But for Nanda Maharaj, he is a son. How come? So that's the rasa. That doesn't change the fact that Krishna is the father of even Nanda Maharaj or anybody else. But the rasa is such that Nanda Maharaj becomes the father of Krishna because of his service attitude in that way. So we always are the children of Radha and Krishna, but our service, our engagement takes on different rasas, different mellows, and accordingly we will engage when we are purified. That is also in Goloka, right? But in Goloka, nobody sings Radharani as mother. That does not take away the. So you have to understand this. What is the principle and what is the rasa, mellow? So why are you even worrying about this? You should not be worrying about this. You just follow what Prabhupada said. Chanting Hare Krishna, reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Just do that. We should not be too eager to understand confidential subject matters when we are not even prepared to go there. Okay? We should be inquisitive at our level. How to improve my spiritual life? What is going to happen in the spiritual world? How are we going to serve Radha and Krishna? How Chamara fan is going to come to the... None of our business. At this point, none of our business. Our business is now to follow the order of the spiritual master, chanting 16 rounds, following 4 principles, waking up for Mangalarati, eating Krishna Prasadam, reading Prabhupada's books, distributing Prabhupada's books. This should be our domain of thinking, speaking, acting. Let's be worried about this and let's perfect what we have now, what chance we have now. What is the point of worrying about what relationship? You will find out once you go there. But how are you going to go there if you don't do what you're supposed to do now? Worry about this. So if in the recipe, I have to first gather the ingredients. But if I'm thinking about how the fire should, how the cooking should, I first collect the ingredients first, na? And then put it in the pan or wok or whatever, bowl and then start cooking. You haven't collected the ingredients yet, you want to put fire and then put what do you want to do there? That's what we should focus on at this point. Alright, so I'll stop it here. We'll continue tomorrow. So tomorrow there will be no Bhagavad Gita class, but we'll just continue on this lecture. Hare Krishna. Jai Srimati Radharani ki jai, Śrī Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much.